Hi guys, this is the way that we're going to do notes from now on with our roots. So this is Roots Unit 3, and you can go ahead and hit pause or play as you need to. You should fill in your roots sheet as we go. So Roots Unit 3 is kind of cool because there are some roots that are going to be doubled up from ones you already know. The first root is fin, and so as you guys already know, fin means end or finish. In the next box, you're going to put in some words containing the root, and I'm sure that you guys can already figure those out. There's finish, oh yeah, there's finish, there's finale. We even had ones like define, which means like to find the end of a word. Over here in this box, you will draw your own picture, a sketch to help you remember that it means finish. So we have fin. Okay, moving on, we're going to go down to a fun root, at least a fun root to say. This one is called flu, fluke, fluve. And flu, fluke, fluve means to flow. Some words that are very common with flu, fluke, fluve are fluctuate. I might talk about something fluctuating like the rainfall level, or in this case, at this time of year, the snowfall level. It fluctuates from day to day, from month to month. It kind of flows up and down. Your attention might fluctuate. It changes. It goes up and down. Another word that you might use here is fluent. Lots of times we talk about fluency. That would be the noun form. I'll type that in too. Fluent describes something that flows. If you're a fluent reader or you have reading fluency, it means your reading flows. You might talk about being like, I can speak Spanish fluently. It means that the Spanish just flows off of your tongue. Another word you might use with flu, fluke, fluve is influence. If somebody influences you, they might be a good influence or a bad influence, but it's kind of like their ideas flow toward you. And then the last one, you probably won't see it used, this fluve, but there is a word called effluvio that describes, it's actually used effluvial plain. Like if you think about Louisiana and you think about how the Mississippi River flows out into the delta, and as it flows out, all of the silt and the sediment, it drops out of the water and it creates this kind of feathery plain at the end of Louisiana, right, going out into the Gulf of Mexico. That's called the effluvial plain because it's where all the stuff flowed. So go ahead and hit the pause button at the bottom of your screen and then take a minute to draw a sketch for flu, fluke, fluve to flow, and then we'll move on. All right, moving on, we're at form, and form is another one of those roots that's the same as we've already had in the intro unit. So you can go ahead and just write form or shape, and I know that you can come up with some words here like uniform or format, formula, and I know that you can put in a picture. You can go ahead and pause the video if you want to. I'm going to keep moving. Fort, force. This one is one, I'm going to get it onto my next page so that I have a full box here. Fort or force is means strong, and if you think about it, the word for a fort, like if you say, you know, Fort Snelling or whatever, stands for fortification, a fort. Or if you make a tree fort, whatever, that is a strong place. It's a stronghold. It's a place where you're trying to be safe with strong walls. A fortress, another word for that kind of thing, a stronghold. And then you also have things like force. Oops. So if you use your force, you use your strength. You can talk about fortified. If you eat breakfast cereal that is fortified with vitamins and minerals, it means that it's made stronger. The cereal itself has been made stronger. Okay, so force means strong, or strength. We can add that in there too. Draw your picture, and I'm going to move on. Number 5, fract, frag, is kind of fun because it's like the opposite of force. If something gets broken, it is fractured. So a fracture is a break. And if something gets broken, you might say that it's a bunch of little fragments. If something is easy to break, you might call it fragile. So those are some examples of words that match up with this. Fract frag means break, and you have a fracture, fragments, fragile. I'm sure you can probably think of some other ones. Draw your picture over here. And we're going to move down here to gen. Now, gen has three meanings, and it's kind of hard to remember them all. So I'm going to put them all here. One of them is birth, and then one of them is race, and one of them is produce. So it means birth, race, produce. And I kind of think of the first one, birth, being like a generation. If you think about you are one generation, your parents who gave birth to you are the next generation up from you, your grandparents are a generation removed from them. That's kind of what they mean by generate, by birth. Um, you can talk about Genesis. Some people might know that from church class or something as the first book in the Bible, but it means like the birth of something. We've been talking in Susie and Leah about Hitler and about the Holocaust. What he was trying to do, this uses two words, is a genocide. Geno meaning the race and side meaning to kill. So he was trying to kill off a whole race of people. And sometimes you might think of generator like to produce power, something who generates power or generates interest. So think of something to draw over here. We're going to move on to number 7, which I'm going to, again, move down into its own box. Geo means earth. So if we look at the geometry, we're actually measuring earth. Meter is the root at the second part here. We're measuring. Geology is the study of the earth, like studying earths and or like rocks and mountains and volcanoes and things like that. Sometimes we might talk about, sometimes you might hear people use geothermal. They might be talking about energy sources that come from the heat, that's the therm root, and of the earth. Like the Hartley Nature Center gets some of their energy, some of their heat through geothermal sources. They pull off of the heat that the sun into the rock, into the earth, gives them. So draw something over here that will help you remember that geo means earth, and we're going to move on. Gress, number 8. This root means step or go. So if you make progress, that is a step, or you're going forward. Pro means forward. Like if I ask you to proceed, or you're going to be professional, you're moving forward. So gress, step or go forward. When you're done with one, like when you finish with one grade, you graduate, you step or you go on to the next grade. And those even have that root in it, grade. So a grade is one step or one way to go on from one step to the next. So you might draw some steps here. Oh, if you're in science, I'm going to put this like graduated cylinders. You might use those to measure, and they get larger in steps. Okay? Number 9 is another repeat from our vocab. There's a kind of a lot of those. So this means write or written, as you guys should already know. And write or written, you got an autograph, that's your self-writing. You've got graphic, that's something that's written. You have a graph, that's a written representation of any kind of information. A phonograph is written sound, all kinds of words with graph or gram. Oh, I'll give you one with gram. A telegram is far distant writing. And then our last one is grat or great. And grat or great means pleasing. If you feel grateful, it means like you're thankful. That means that you are pleased with something or with someone. And here's a word that's good to know, especially if you ever go out to eat in a big group of people. At the bottom of your check, it might say gratuity has been included. A gratuity is a tip. And that great here, that means pleasing. It means that you give somebody extra money because their service was pleasing to you. So if you're looking at your check and it says a 15% gratuity has already been added on, it means that you have already paid for the tip. It's already been included, and that will help you to know that so you don't spend more money on it. Let's see, what other words with grat? great. We could talk about gratuitous. Sometimes people might say that a movie was just full of like gratuitous violence. And that means that not that the violence itself was pleasing, but that it was just sort of like it was free. It was for anybody who wanted it. It was just there, no real reason. And how about gratitude? I'm gonna have to scroll down here. Gratitude means your thankfulness or your feeling that something pleased you. You say please and thank you, and that's what great means. Great means please, and it's all the words sort of mean that you're thankful for it. So those are your roots for Unit 3, and you should be able to fill out all of your notes based on this little video, and you should be able to revisit this video because it's in your shared drive, and you should be able to check with it and study with it anytime you like. Thanks.